Hi there. So one thing which is going to be very important to start right now is if we are talking about change, I don't believe in change without exchange. So we're going to need to work together, okay? So good afternoon, guys. No, it doesn't work like that. So good afternoon, guys. I'll try now. I can take 15 minutes just for that. So good afternoon, guys. Hell yeah. Let's start like that. Yeah, this is the way I believe in enthusiasm to change things. So let's go it like this, okay? So I'll talk about my project, the Bamboo Trip. So I'm pretty sure that when you hear about a guy cycling around the world on a bamboo bicycle, the least interesting thing is the word guy, which is unfortunately me. So I'm going to go to the interesting part, which is first Dulcinea, the queen of this trip. This bicycle is provided by Bamboo Bicycles. They are exhibiting the bicycle. Joanna is right here. If you want to have a look, she's there. Yeah, my bicycle is in Germany right now. So she's the queen. We have cycled together the whole Eastern Africa from Cape Town to Cairo, and then the whole Europe from extreme west to extreme east, and then a little bit of Asia. And one important thing about the Bamboo bicycle, people get interested on her. I call it her. Yeah, this is when you spend 31,000 kilometers with something, you get closer to it. Yeah, and the bamboo is extremely resilient. So everything which is not bamboo on that bicycle got broken. So, and we're talking about, for example, steel. The steel is strong. It's hard, but not necessarily strong. We are talking about sustainable development here and resilience. This is bamboo. We're talking about absorbing impact, getting it and moving. Welcome, this is Dulcinea. So, and then this is the least interesting part, in which is me. And one thing that I ask myself, and everyone asks me when I have some talks like that, is when you cross 31,000 kilometers around the world on a bamboo bicycle in 30-something countries, I decided to not count anymore. What is the message that you have to say after all that? I honestly don't know. I wasn't planning that because I didn't decide to cycle around the world to give a message. I could open a Twitter. I could be a TikToker for that because the world is much bigger than me. I decided to cycle to listen, to exchange, and here we are. So I really can share some things that I've heard, some stories that I've got on the way, and then we can kind of move on that. And I have some cases of things that we have done in our project. Then we can go on that. Deal? Okay. Deal, guys? Thank you. So, I have done a workshop yesterday with Mr. Joshua from African Way. And one thing he said, which is very important, it's very thoughtful for me, is when we are talking about changing or anything, I need to go where you are, you go where I am, and we find ourselves in the middle. This is basically what we're trying to do this. And one thing that we are all searching now is balance. So this is me in Zanzibar. This is me crossing the Sahara Desert in Sudan, 55 degrees summertime. So when I was having a hell of a good time in Zanzibar, I always thought how the times are coming, so I need to plan. I need to get ready. I need to start training. I need to get my equipment shining and strong because I will be ready for that. When I am completely exhausted in the middle of the desert, I know I need to keep hold. I need to keep moving because easy times are coming. And the moment where we are right now, it's not very Zanzibarish. We're basically there. If we're talking about global warming, this is why we are here. We're trying to not collapse and be alive for the next 200 years, being optimistic. So we are kind of there. So somehow we're all trying to achieve balance. And I can share some ways that we had to go into it. So these are my shoes. My mom used to say that we used to know where people walk by the shoes they wear. And these were mine. Actually, those shoes are not even mine, if you allow me to take them off, because they're not even mine. I'm not that fancy, guys. So these are my shoes while I was crossing. And, well, I have one way to tell the stories to you about my Africa crossing, which is a very interesting way that I decided to say, according to what the press used to ask me, or what the people around used to ask me, because this is the vision they have about the African continent, which is very far from the truth. But you can cherry pick the truth and then you create kind of a lie. But makes me cool and kind of a hero, a line hero, but here we are. This is Africa, as you probably know, yeah. So, I have crossed 3 civil wars. My house got burnt when I was in Zanzibar. I've crossed 2 tribal wars in Ethiopia and in Kenya. I got robbed on my first day of trip in South Africa. I've crossed the Sahara Desert in summertime. I've literally have eaten ruts, sand. I've crossed from -20. Your freezer is probably -3, so it's a place where you would go to your freezer to get warm, to 55 degrees. My thermometer got melted. And this is one way of sharing Africa, which is very far from the truth, guys. We do have some different ways to show, which is very short for the time we have, but this is the Africa I know. It's a tiny part. I would love to keep showing pictures and pictures and pictures, because when I close my eyes and I think about the African continent, I think about colors. We're talking about mountains. I'm not sure if how many of us have ever eaten a mango, a real mango, the real taste of things. The music comes, the drums that you follow, the smells, the smiles. Every time when I think about every African country and I think about their faces, they're always smiling. This is the Africa I know. This is the story that I'm here to tell you. And specifically, specifically talking about sustainable development, what I think we need to have in mind is a classic average goal when we are 65 in the Western world is when we get old, we want to get time for our family, for our friends, have time for nature, get close to nature, eat more vegetables, eat organic. Guys, this is the life of an average African. They just don't need to wait 65 years for that. And to keep the way of consumption that we're having right now in the Western world, we need 3 planets at least to keep that level, and someone else is paying for that, which is basically where I come from. I'm from Brazil, I'm from Rio de Janeiro, and the African continent as well. So this is one important message that we have to say, this: they have something to teach, we have something to learn from them. This is the message that I have to spread after crossing the African continent. And one thing that people will always ask me, why I did this and how I did this, how could I afford such a thing? So I guess I'm just very rich, it's easy. No, I'm kidding, I'm not. I actually come from not from a rich family at all. I'm the only one who has a passport in Brazil. No one speaks English. I was the first one in my family to go to university. No one ever left the country, so that's not the point. So I was basically, I've done 1 trip in South America. I wrote the books, and I could sell a lot of books. And I crowdfunded this trip, and I started selling the content and selling talks like this. This is the way I was selling and affording my trip. So I put the elephant in the room, and then we get it. And one thing that made me completely rich, and then I consider me rich, it's about time. And I needed to learn how to stop the time to understand. And what we are trying to do here, it's basically trying to stop the time, slow down, and understand things better. Yeah, I can give you one example. It makes you crazy, this clock like this, right? Me too. So can you tell me what time is it now? So what time is it now? Things are better and easier when we stop down. This is just one short example. I can give you one practical example that happened to me. When I was in Mozambique crossing, I used to get a lot of help from the police. They kept me alive and happy and full of food anytime. Well, one police specifically was trying to ask me for bribes, which is very unusual for me. So, and then the man asked, like, can I get your passport, please? Yeah, take it. So, your Brazilian ID? Unusual, but take it. So, your vaccine card, your yellow fever card? Okay. I just had everything. And then he said, oh, I'm sorry, I need to search all your things, but we can try to find a way to solve. But asking me for my time, it's like asking $10 to Bill Gates. So I just said, take your time. Because I thought, I have food, I have a tent, I have my coffee stove. If it takes 2 days, I'm fine. So I just said, take your time. And then he was searching the things, and then he gave up. And then he said, go, go, go. And I thought, no, wait. I'm making coffee for 2, not just for me. Do you want to have a coffee with me? So we had a coffee together. We're still friends on WhatsApp. He's probably going to see this talk right now. So if you're seeing that now, Mario, hello. This is the way, this is what how I value the time. And Joshua, the man from the workshop yesterday, his way to define time was like being slow enough to have time to smell the flowers. This is powerful. This is ancient African knowledge that comes from the continent where I came from. And after this, I started to think about the redesign of speed for the basic principle that with my bamboo bicycle, like this beauty here, I can achieve places where a Ferrari can't make. So what the hell is speed if we go fast into the collapse? We're talking about average speed, the right direction. What is the right direction and how we go further? I was collecting data from my university, talking to government, civil society, people from the villages to understand what is speed for them, how they create solutions to move further. And these results we have showed in a TEDx talk in Germany at the COP23 for the United Nations companies around the globe. And then we're talking specifically about sustainable development. And at this point, we're coming to the end of this presentation. I invite you to do something which is very important. Look around now. Physically, look around 360, guys. This is very important. So, what we need to understand is this is not a problem of this event because luckily, or by a successful project, this project is being streamed around the whole world and people can see this anytime. But how many of you, when you look 360, is part of a vulnerable population? So we're talking for our small club. We have a mission to go further. Of course, this is not our fault because when we have a space of privilege to have bright ideas like that, the first people who's going to occupy are the people already who detained the privilege. So we are not guilty about that, but we have the responsibility to go further. And when we discuss sustainability without Africa, without vulnerable populations, my perception, it's like we are like on a boat, and we are trying to, we go like on a swimming pool, and we have a little club thinking about the temperature and the density of the water, and then we think, oh, we need a bigger boat. No. If we're talking about water, we're talking about the sea surrounding the boat. So we need to go in the water. We need to go deeper to go further. So we need the field. And I'm not talking that you guys need to go to Kathmandu, Zanzibar, Paris, Rio de Janeiro to get further. What about saying good morning to our volunteers here, to your neighbors, to see what they're doing? We need to go step by step. And once we're talking about innovations, and the main purpose of this event here, it's about innovations, we need to understand the problem. And the problem is not in our heads. The problem is in the field. So we can't go with this mental masturbation without going where the things are happening. So how the things are happening. And then I started to do things with my own reality. So when I was in Bosnia, I was facing, for the first time, my situations with refugees. Yeah, so why 100 shoes? Why shoes for refugees? Well, I was talking to them to see the real problem. And with the NGOs responsible for that, what happens to them is they come from all the regions around Syria until Turkey, and then they go walking for months from Turkey to Bosnia, and then this is the last stop over because they are a little bit tolerated because it's the last Muslim country they will pass by. So at this time when I was there, they were actually crossing by foot to the European Union. I'm talking about mothers and fathers crossing with children on the snow. So if I talk about happiness, dance, music, innovation, sustainability, no. The first reality was not getting the feet frozen. So I could get 100 shoes for them. Not me, because I'm not rich, but I have the power, I have the voice, I have the family, I have wonderful friends, I have followers, I have you guys to do this change with me. So I decided to give 100. We got a little bit more of 100. We got a small truck and another one, actually. So by the end of the day, I know that 100, 200 people, they didn't get the feet frozen. So for me, it's enough for a start. And of course, we can go further. And we did further in our project. So I built bamboo bicycles. This is what my organization does. So I decided to bring the guy who builds the bicycles to build at the most vulnerable and violent community of Brazil in Rio de Janeiro called Queimados. And I have a friend from there, and I decided to see what was the problem that he had. And he said, oh, actually, we kind of need to eat. Well, there is no peace without food on the table. Because in my mind, I was thinking about a wonderful bike share program, super cool, to have like 100 bicycles around. No, they need a way of living. If I want to take them from their homes to build bamboo bicycles, we need to make a way of living and a job to make it happen to them. So they made the bicycles, and now they're multiplying the knowledge. And we decided to give jobs to vulnerable populations, people coming from prison, from shelters, divorced housewives, any kind of people who couldn't get the right place to get basic conditions in the society, they got in our project. And now, these people from the community, they are multiplying in different places as well. And one thing that we need to have in mind is, you can ask yourself, where is my picture there? Where is me? Can you see? I'm not there, because this is not the point. The change is not about our egos. The change is not about myself. The change is about what we do. And when I'm talking about the community where I am not from, this guy here, he was the first bamboo bicycle maker. He was the priority. They need to have the voice. They need to have the speech. And now they are multiplying in different places, and we are about to do this out of Brazil. So this is the power of change and exchange that I'm talking about. And yeah, we are finishing right now. So this is the picture by the Turkana Desert, which is, according to some studies, where humanity starts. So, and this is it's hard to say if this is a goodbye or a hello. And I pretty much believe life is it's like this. It's what we do from the hi and the goodbye and the message we have to get, what we listen and what we do. That's why I decided to end with that. So I said before, hi. So this is my message. And thanks a lot, guys. And goodbye.